Hey guys, it's Jeff from Patriot Training Center. In today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about the common stoppages that we might see while we're shooting our pistols. So for this video, I've got a FN509 with a Holosun 407C on it that I'm testing out right now. And I've been using it quite a bit, and thankfully it hasn't had any stoppages through about 500 rounds. But regardless of how good our modern pistols are and how reliable most of them are, especially if we get a reputable pistol, we still need to know how to deal with malfunctions. So let's talk about a couple of those and what they are and how we deal with them. So some of the major stoppages that we see while we're shooting are a failure to feed, a failure to fire, or a failure to eject. So what are those? A failure to feed is when we fire the gun, the slide reciprocates, it throws the empty casing out, and as it's coming back, it strips another round out of the magazine and loads it into the chamber. Sometimes it doesn't quite get in there and it can cause a stoppage in our gun. A failure to fire is simply when we get a click instead of a bang. So we press the trigger, we're wanting the gun to fire, but we don't have that. So it's like this. We have a clear gun here. So the failure to fire is when we press the trigger, we get that click instead of that bang, the round does not fire. So that's a failure to fire. And a failure to eject is when we fire the gun, the slide reciprocates, but we do not get that empty casing out of there, and we've got a stoppage in our gun. Usually the gun's out of battery. We can see the casing somewhere stuck inside of there. But for those three stoppages, there's one really easy, quick fix, and that's called immediate action. So when we take immediate action, what we're going to do is we're going to tap the magazine to make sure that it's fully seated, and we're going to come over the top and we're going to really grasp that slide, and we're going to aggressively run the slide to the rear to get whatever is going on in that chamber out of there and get a new fresh round stripped in so that we can get back into the fight. So we've loaded up some dummy rounds. As you see, we have some orange Glock dummy rounds right here that work really well. And we can do a lot of good things with these. So I can simulate a couple of stoppages and how to fix those with the immediate action. So a common one, a failure to fire. So if I'm out on target and I want to shoot this gun and I press the trigger and I get that dreaded click instead of the bang, immediately what I need to do is go into that immediate action and get my finger off the trigger, bring the gun into my little workspace, or whatever you want to call it, but keeping it down range in a safe direction. And I'm going to give that magazine a good little tap right there to make sure it's seated. And as soon as I do that, I'm coming over the top. Notice I tilt the gun just a little bit because I want gravity to help me out, because I got to get that out of there. So as I give it that good tap, I come over the top and we see that bad round spit out of there. So I can instantly get right back in the fight. Okay, so that immediate action works really well for a failure to fire, a failure to feed, or a failure to eject. So once we perform that immediate action, we can get right back to what we were doing. So I'll do that one more time. Simulating the failure to fire, I come on to target, I see my sight somewhere I need to be, press the trigger, but I get that click instead of a bang, finger comes off, good tap, turn it just a little bit, aggressively run that round out of the chamber. Okay, so those are the ones that are fairly easy to fix with immediate action. The next one I'm going to talk about is a double feed. A double feed is a different kind of animal. So what we have with a double feed is we have, and I'm going to set this up with dummy rounds. And while I'm doing that, let me make this point. Anytime we're working on stoppages and we're training for that, and we never use live ammo, we always use dummy rounds. Using live ammo to practice stoppages can it's just not a safe practice, and we can put ourselves in a bad position doing that. And we can do it very safely with these dummy rounds. So to simulate a double feed, I'm going to manually load one of the dummy rounds into the chamber, and then I'm going to go ahead and insert this magazine with a dummy round in it, and I'm going to try to chamber that round. So what this creates is two rounds that are competing for the same spot in the chamber, and that does not work out. Okay, so as you see, it's stuck right there. So in the event that we get a double feed, the way we have to fix this is that we have to try to perform immediate action, but watch this, nothing happens. I can tap and rack all that I want and as vigorously as I want, but that problem still exists inside of that chamber with those two rounds still competing. So what I actually have to do is I have to manually strip this magazine out, okay? So I can press the magazine release button all I want, but nothing's gonna happen right there because it's stuck, okay? So again, my finger is gonna go straight because I'm doing an administrative action with the gun. I'm going to press that magazine release button, manually strip that magazine out of there. Then I've got to retrieve a spare magazine, insert it into the mag well, and run that slide very vigorously to get the bad round out and seat that knee round, and then I can get right back in the fight. Okay, so those are a couple of the common stoppages that we see and the way that we deal with them. And as you see, it's not that hard and it's pretty easy to do as long as we train it a little bit. And then when we have that happen during the middle of our shooting, or whether we're training or whatever else it might be, we know how to fix it. But just another quick reminder, always use the dummy rounds when we're training for this for safety purposes. Have all live ammo out of the way, even if you're on the range. Just don't make that mistake because it could lead to something pretty dangerous for us. So that's stoppages and how to fix them with immediate action, looking at a double feed and how to take care of that. So we hope to see you out training here soon.